In the UK, there's one charity for every 347 people. That's a lot of charities. But what kind of work do they do on the ground? And what kind of benefit can you get from meeting the people and benefiting them directly? We check it out with Abu Bakr.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من كان يريد العاجلة عجلنا له فيها ما نشاء لمن نريد ثم جعلنا له جهنم يصلاها مذموما مدحورا ومن أراد الآخرة وسعى لها سعيها وهو مؤمن فأولئك كان سعيهم مشكورا.
Okay, I'm sitting here today with Abu Bakr from Roadside to Islam and this charity Spot. First, I want to get into like you're traveling to Africa to help out with the charity over there. What is your connection like with Gambia and in general?
Basically, I was born and raised in Gambia. I came to United Kingdom when I was roughly around 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
Now, after being in the UK for a little while, you know, I changed my lifestyle, started adapting to the culture and the people and the customs in the United Kingdom.
So you had like, you would say you had African culture.
I'm born and raised in Africa, so I'm an African child. Now, alhamdulillah, to cut a long story short, all praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah guided me to Islam. Now, after Allah guided me to Islam, I've traveled to many places in the Muslim world, whether it's been Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and what have you. But I never ever went back to my roots. I never went back to Africa. Now, before I became a Muslim, I went to Africa in 2005 or 2006. But personally, I didn't like it. Especially coming from the lifestyle I was coming from before, I was very ignorant. And I was used to and accustomed to certain things. So obviously going there and seeing certain things that I didn't really like and not having the certain luxuries maybe that I'm used to, like KFC and McDonald's and what have you. So naturally, when I went there, I was like, this is a bit boring. This is not really for me. So when I became a Muslim, I never really had the urge to go there. Even though I was changing and my lifestyle was completely changed now, but still, I knew in majority of the Arab countries, they still had certain parts of dunya that I like. Like I told you, like the little luxuries, like McDonald's and all them type of things, and going to the beach and what have you. Now, I used to see online many people doing charity and, you know, doing beneficial works in Africa. And I thought to myself, subhanAllah, you know, since I've been a Muslim, I've never been back there. And I just said, you know what, I decided one time, I said, you know what, I'm going to go and visit my mum, because my mum was also living here for a long time, but she retired and decided to go back home. So I said to myself, you know what have I got to lose? I wasn't doing much, and I kept delaying it. Every year I kept saying I'm going to go, but I didn't end up going because it wasn't something that I was passionate about. So subhanAllah, I decided to book my ticket and I went. But I went not with the intention that I thought I was going to like it. I just thought, you know what, let me just go and visit my mum and see what's happening.
What year was this?
This was last year. This was last year. So subhanAllah, when I went, my mind was blown away because it wasn't what I expected. And naturally, as you get older and you start to mature, you start looking at life in a different perspective, and you start looking at life in a complete different viewpoint. So when I went back to Gambia, I said, subhanAllah, first thing I noticed that it's 95% Muslim country. Now, before I went there, I didn't notice that because obviously I wasn't a Muslim. The second thing I noticed that there are adhans everywhere. So I was like, subhanAllah, this was no difference to me being like, how can I say, in Saudi Arabia or in Egypt. And the third thing I liked was that I actually went to somewhere and I felt like I was accepted straight away. And one of the things I liked about Gambia was that I felt like I could be myself, I could do me, and that was fine. And that's really important for me because it's hard going somewhere and trying to be something that you're not, or being forced to act or be a certain way that you're not. So for me, when I went back to Africa, I felt like, you know what, subhanAllah, I've actually found somewhere that I can be myself now.
Yeah.
So this was really, really important for me. And from then, I started going around and, you know, looking at the projects, looking at the schools and stuff like that. And one thing for me was very important. Wherever I go, I'm an individual that I need to be in a place where I can have some type of input, where I can, you know, I can do something.
Okay.
So one of the things for me, when I was in Africa, I noticed that, wow, one thing I noticed that I can actually give dawah here. The second thing I noticed that there's so much room for me to benefit the people with small amounts of money. For example, when I first went there, I started doing well projects. We started building wells. And alhamdulillah, we found some good people who were doing wells for us, good price. We were doing wells for like £450 to £500. Do you understand? Like for me, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're looking in the charity world, sometimes you see a lot of these organizations, when you want to build wells and stuff, the prices that they charge is like £2,000, £3,000.
Yeah.
And obviously, you want to do this stuff, but money-wise, it's not really feasible. So alhamdulillah, being on the ground, seeing that in reality, you can do a lot more with a lot less money was something very beneficial for me. So that's why I then started this project called SPOT, S-P-O-T, and it stands for Supporting the People of Tomorrow. And our goals and ambitions with this organization, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, is just to help the youth, wherever they be, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim, it doesn't matter. Our thing is to put things in place what can help the young people. So we go to a community, you know, they haven't got a lot of facilities. We go there and try and facilitate the community with some things, i.e. we go to a community that don't have no water. We'll put water there for the people. If we go to a community and we see there's a poor school, we'll try and develop the school, give the school books, help them in any way, shape or form that we can help them with, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. So that's really been the main goal and ambition for us with this organization, SPOT. It's just to help young people in totality, wherever they are. But obviously our intention, our niyyah started from Africa because, you know, it was easy for us to embark on this mission. So, so far, alhamdulillah, for me, it's been really, really interesting, alhamdulillah.
So going back to your journey, like when you went back there, it was like last year or whatever.
Yeah.
What's a few things that you learned about yourself? Because I find that really interesting when you travel, especially when you go like back home, you find out more about yourself, about the people, etc. Like, what's some things you discovered?
Now, for me, going back to Africa made me realize, and it confirmed that I'm an individual who can live a simple life.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I noticed in myself when I went to Africa is that, you know what? I like the way the people live here. Everyone looks the same. You couldn't tell the difference between a rich person and a poor person.
Okay.
So that's the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed was that, you know, life, I'm getting old. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm coming to the end of my life, subhanAllah, you know, and I've got to put things in place that when I die, inshallah ta'ala, that I'm getting some kind of ajr. So alhamdulillah, going back to my roots, going back to Africa, has opened up a bigger window because even though in the UK here we've been involved in dawah and helping the people and helping the youth, but now being in Africa, I feel like the window's open even bigger.
Yeah.
Because you can give dawah, call people to Islam. This is an amazing thing to do. But when you can go to a community and you can put water and give water to a community, that's the next level.
The impact's bigger.
The impact's it's bigger.
Different level.
It's a whole other level. Or you go to a school where it's a poor school and you supply them with Quran, you supply them with books, pens and pencils, and every child in that school remembers your name.
Yeah.
Every child in that school is making dua. It's different. So for me, going back and alhamdulillah, I think everything happens in its time period because my journey in Africa has been good for me. It's helped me, it's benefited me, and it's made me appreciate life a lot more than I would have before. Because when you see people less fortunate than you, and they're humble, it humbles you by default.
Nice one. Thank you very much, Abu Bakr. May Allah accept it from you.
Ameen, ameen, ameen.
So as the people saw, we did that interview with Abu Bakr Islam. It was really good. He brought a lot of energy, had a lot to say, and it was cool. Yani, I like the topic because I'm African myself. I'm a charity, the real life charity.
I'll tell you what I really liked about that. I mean, we've seen Abu Bakr's works and projects over a number of years now.
Yeah.
I never knew he was from Africa.
Okay.
I never knew he was from Africa.
Yeah.
So for me,
I told you, didn't I? I said I thought he was Jamaican.
yeah, and I'm from the same part.
Yeah.
I'm from Senegal, which is
Yeah.
Gambia, same
Yeah,
place.
West Africa,
West
yeah.
Africa, yeah. So I never knew he was from Africa. And what he said initially that he didn't want to go back and he had this perception of,
Yeah.
I can relate to that to some instance.
Okay.
To some degree I can relate to that. And I think it was really an eye-opener in terms of his transition from the West back home and how he could see it differently from a Muslim perspective. And also the problems that are still rampant, even at that level. So I really liked it. But what did you think was the most, I guess, compelling part of the interview?
No, to be real with you, yeah, I wanted to interview Abu Bakr because I had an agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agendas, bro.
I wanted to show the people that it's good to travel, especially to where you're originally from, and to learn from that and to develop yourself. That's why I asked him, what did you learn from that? And there's a journey in then of discovering yourself and discovering the other people. So that's what I wanted to show, and I hope people, they took that from it. Like, let me go check out the world. Let me learn from it. That was the highlight for me. And then on top of it, the other point was the impact you can have with a little bit of money.
He's building a school, like,
Yeah.
that's outstanding, like, to build a school and to help orphans and to help students. And he mentioned something like, to help a school out where every student knows or remembers your name and makes supplication for you, makes dua for you. That's powerful. That's motivational for me because I'm coming from the same place. And I'm thinking, if he's doing that on 2 or 3 visits, like, what can I do when I go back home? And how can I go about beginning that process of going home and mark the difference? So I liked it a lot. But also at the same time, the issue of, for example, having problems that are so basic, it could be solved, for example, hygiene.
Exactly.
That really kind of got me thinking, what are we doing to, and unless you go and travel for yourself, you won't be able to see it.
It won't hit you in the heart.
Exactly. And you won't even know it because something that you could never imagine coming from the West, that people are deprived or are lacking in that perspective. So I think unless you go and witness for yourself, you go out there and put yourself there and witness it, you miss out that perspective, you miss out that opportunity.
No, people say, the Ummah is one body, you know, we feel the pain of others, But I really feel like deep down, you don't get a sense of that if you just see numbers and you just see TV and stuff. You got to mix with the people, you got to see them in front of you, crying, laughing, getting to know them on a personal level. And look, it's not a big commitment. You don't have to move there. You go for a few days, a few weeks, whatever.
Yeah, but we travel all over the place.
Yeah,
we choose. Like he said, and this is funny.
Yeah.
He mentioned the McDonald's aspect.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I went on Umrah Hajj. And of course, you go for the worship.
Yes.
But also just to eat halal McDonald's, and you know. So you want to go and have the Western standards in the Muslim world.
Yeah, this is.
We don't really prioritize countries that are not as developed in the dunya.
Yeah.
So we don't really think of going to countries, even if it's there, if it's our countries. We don't want to go there because we would lack the benefits of a Western lifestyle.
But you get other benefits. You get other benefits, which is the self-discovery. You get the self-discovery. Look, if you live in the same lifestyle that you were in the UK or wherever you live originally, if you live in the same lifestyle, what are you learning about yourself? How are you developing? You're going to have a 7-day holiday. Oh, I went this, I went swimming, I went skydiving, I went this. And then a few months later, you forget that. But when you go somewhere else, maybe less luxurious, right? Less fancy, but different, that's going to touch you for the rest of your life.
Very different. And I think, again, for the youth, because we're talking to the youth here, right? When we talk of holidays, we're talking like America, Disneyland, Dubai, these glamorous, glitzy destinations. What can you do to make a change there? They're already developed.
That's true as well.
You go to America, what are you going to do to make it better? It's already developed.
There's less
you're
of a
taking,
level,
you're not giving, you're taking. Whereas if you go to a Gambia, Senegal, these kind of like our countries, you can literally make a difference. You can literally make a difference, mark a difference. And so your holiday becomes more of a, not only discovering yourself, but also helping people on a ground level. Now, we all like to travel once in a while. Honestly, who doesn't? Recently, the World Tourism Organization has announced that up to 1.1 billion people are traveling abroad every single year. There's been a rising trend, however, on positive tourism, or what is known as ethical tourism, with focus on actually developing the countries to which tourists are traveling to. in order to benefit the environment, the community, and the economic situation. You've traveled extensively, and you're still traveling, alhamdulillah. Which countries have you been to, and what has marked you the most in each one?
Okay, so I was born in one place, then I moved to another place, so I wouldn't call that traveling, that was where I was living. But the first trip that I feel changed a lot for me was when I went to Thailand.
Thailand?
Yeah.
What were you doing in Thailand, bro?
It was for a trek.
Yeah.
Okay, so Duke of Edinburgh Award, if you know it, we had to do a 55-kilometer trek. Wow. So we went over there. Alhamdulillah, it was a great experience. I remember this vividly in my mind. Walking along a path on the side of a mountain, muddy, it's raining, and like if you slip, you're gone, you're done, yeah? And we were just so, I don't know why we were so casual about it. We were carrying like 15 kilos on our back, we were just walking, and I remember that moment, I felt like I literally felt myself growing. So that was the first real experience where I felt like traveling really changes you.
And how old were you roughly around?
I was 16.
Were you teens then?
Yeah, 16.
So early traveling developed you.
Yeah, that's why, like, from 16 onwards, even if you're in uni or whatever, take those 3 months, don't waste those 3 months summer holiday, go somewhere. Especially if you're in the UK, you can go many places for cheap. Like, take advantage. I didn't have that. I was in the UAE. You don't have those cheap flights. So take advantage of that for sure, because you learn about yourself.
And how do you feel about, for example, when you've traveled? Because for myself, personally speaking, I was born in one country in the West. I went back home for about 4 or 5 years. I came back to another country in the West. So I've had like this back and forth relationship. And with each travel, with each destination, I pick up something new. Least of all the language, but then other things as well, perspectives and customs and appreciation. So for me, this back and forth is like a bee that goes to different flowers and collects pollen from each one to make honey. So for me, the traveling is really a development tool for children. Specifically, the younger you are, in my perspective, the younger you are, and the more traveled you are, the more refined you become, the more balanced you become.
Oh, definitely, definitely. A lot of people that are stuck in the box thinking, is because they had never met anyone different from their world. And this comes down to as well, same with like religious knowledge. If you're only learning from one teacher, you're going to be a copy-paste of him, right? If you get the diversity, then you're thinking, you're understanding, rather than just saying what you learn. And the same thing goes, if you're living in one culture, that's all you're going to come out with, is that. Whereas if you mix cultures, I mean, that's what happened in Andalusia. You had the Europeans, you had the Arabs, you had the Amazigh, you had Jews, you had Christians.
It's a blend of so many things.
Yeah, and then that's where you get the crazy, the art, the innovation, all that stuff coming out of it. So, look, like, to make a point about it, if someone who's traveled more than you, they're going to have a big advantage over you. Simple as that.
Absolutely. And I think there was even a study saying that kids at school who knew more than 2 languages were more advanced in certain subjects, and had an advantage because of the language advantage there. So I think definitely, for me personally speaking, I can vouch for it. Traveling will definitely widen your horizon, will definitely make you a more balanced and rounded person. And I think, given the opportunity, you should always seek to travel and to help those you're traveling to as well. Take from them to give them as well. So let's go into the online segment. We've got a bit of feedback from people online.
Okay, so Cherastatic says, you will never understand the true meaning of your life until you travel and experience how others are living. And let's not limit it to those less off than you, but just anyone in general. What do you think about what they said?
I think that's good. I like the fact that he mentions, or she mentions, the meaning of your life being linked to how others live. Because when you see other people in poverty, you realize how much you have in privilege. When you see others happy, you realize how much you're lacking happiness, perhaps. You may have material wealth, but when you go to a country, people don't have as much as you have, but they're smiling and happy and in communion. You realize the gap in yourself by seeing them happy. So I think that's a great balance, and that's a great way of explaining it.
So, Ashley says, all I want in life is to travel. I don't care about the money. I don't care about nice things. Experience is priceless. That reminds me of a report that someone did, a study, I think. It might have come out of Harvard, I can't remember, but where they found that people that spent their money on experiences were happier than those that spend it on material things, you know. And it doesn't mean you have to go one or the other. It just means that I think if you got like a substantial amount of money, what you want to put it into, put it into experiences where you're going to grow, and you are your biggest asset.
Absolutely.
So you are the asset then for the rest of your life. So you've built something.
And I think it's, again, for those who are aspiring to do the same thing, just take small steps.
Yeah, well,
you don't have to take a 10,000-mile journey on your first instance. You can travel to another city, to another county.
Yeah.
You can go down the road and look at a farm. You can go and look at how people live in your country, a different perspective. And then as you have time and more resources, you can extend a bit more, you know.
So I think if you just take that first step, you go out there, go to another city like you said, or you're with a few friends, you know, a lot of people, they got a lot of free time. So, you know, take advantage and you're going to win in the long term in that. So let's go into those street surveys where we ask people about this topic.
Some of us, we come born in Africa or born somewhere else, who are Muslims, come to Europe. We know the importance of helping the poor people because we've seen it firsthand. And I guess our brothers in Europe, they haven't seen the hardship that we've seen. Like if you have one meal at 11 o'clock in the evening, you will appreciate because you don't know when the next meal is going to come the next day. So those are some of the things I have seen it myself in Africa. I've seen people going through tough time, and alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me so that I can handle living. But I still have to think about those people who are fortunate, who Allah haven't given the blessing. So to the brothers all over the world, the Muslim brothers, our brothers who are suffering, they need you. They need your help. It's not about being suspicious when people come to you say we need to help the brothers. Just give and Allah will reward you. If you give someone do something else, Allah Ta'ala, leave him to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, you know. That's all I have to say, brother. And I hope you think about this message and help all the Muslim brothers around the world who are suffering, who are not fortunate like you living in the West.
The world is your oyster. Travel and enrich your experience. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Take that step today.
Think about it right now. Where have you been? What has that allowed you to realize? How does that make you different to the people around you? How many times have we said to people, oh wow, you speak that language, oh wow, you've been there. That's because deep down we really know the value of traveling, of knowing about different places, different cultures, different people, different mindsets. I don't think you need incentive, money, cash to encourage you to go out there and travel. You know it's a load of fun and you know what you can gain from it. But sometimes we become lazy, we become disorganized, we don't know how to organize it, where to go. We might get these thoughts that it's expensive or it's going to take a lot of time. The reality is, it's becoming easier and cheaper than ever.
Take the opportunity now whilst you're young and able to go out into the world and to enrich yourself with those experiences. Learn new things. Become a better person.
You can go to a completely different country in a few hours. It doesn't have to cost you much at all. Just need to put a little bit of that effort. If you see it as not just a lot of fun, but as a personal development project, that will give you more incentive to just go out there and make it happen. Let's compare two things quickly. You've got your plain meal, cheese sandwich, right? And then you've got your biryani. The cheese sandwich is made up of bread, cheese, maybe butter, maybe a little bit of a salad in there. The biryani, it's got maybe 20 different spices in it. It's got chicken, it's got rice, it's got some vegetables, it's got that coriander on the top, right? This is what you become when you travel. You get the recipe from all over the world of these little ingredients added to make you delicious, if you like, in your mind. You become an interesting person. You become a cultured person. You know what it's like in other places and you'll be able to carry conversations much further. So I don't think there's any more incentive needed to go out there and travel, make it happen.
You have everything to gain and absolutely nothing to lose. So go out there and make the world your oyster. Rise above the mark.